Welcome to a Stepping Stones to Awareness show. I'm Caroline Stevens, and today I've got Bob Brown on from Denver, Colorado. Welcome, Bob. You're going to be talking about the International UFO Congress. Over to you.
Hi, Carolyn. Welcome to me. Thank you.
So what's the International Congress all about then?
Well, if we go back to the original International UFO Congress, that was actually a major convention that my good friend Colonel Wendell Stevens, the late Colonel Wendell Stevens now, we began it, approximately, it must be almost 32 or 3 years ago now, maybe 34, 35. I lose track of time. I'm really old, Carolyn.
So have you seen a UFO yourself?
Yes, actually, I have.
Just the once?
And no, not just the once. At these conferences, we often have things that we call sky watches, for want of a better term. And it's where a group of us will go out at the Laughlin, Nevada location, where we have held the majority of our conferences, not too far out of town, out in the desert, up climbing into the mountains. There is an ancient Indian petroglyph site, and that's where we usually go out for sky watches. Now, during these organized sky watches, amazingly enough, we usually do see craft in the majority of times.
Why do you think it happens there in particular?
You know, it's really not there in particular, although you have to consider that many people that come to these kind of events are actually connected. I know this is weird stuff, but many of the people there are actually connected to ET intelligence and presence, to some of the specific folks that are stopping by to say hello. And as such, when they are participating, they themselves do bring in a higher chance of seeing craft or having some sort of a contact.
Right, I'm still trying to work out the connection on that, why it happens. What do these UFOs look like?
Well, there's all different shapes and kinds of UFOs. My most dramatic sighting, which was very up close and personal, happened when I was about 23 years old. It happened in Baja, California. A girlfriend and I had flown down, and we were going down to Scammons Lagoon to do whale watching. And we arrived there in the late afternoon, and it became very windy and cold, so we set our tent up quickly and went inside and actually cooked our dinner inside the tent, ate, and then it was nightfall, and my girlfriend went out to answer the call of nature. Next thing I knew, she was screaming at me, "Bob, get the hell out here. What is this helicopter doing over us? Bob, get the hell out here." I scrambled and ran out and looked up expecting to see a helicopter because this is what she was screaming. But what I saw was a large orb that was actually changing from red to green to red to green. It was kind of like, if you're probably too young to remember this, but back in the 50s, early 60s, we had color wheels. These little different colored gels would rotate over a light onto an aluminum Christmas tree, and the tree would sort of change colors from
yes.
left to right. So this was like that, except that it was plasmatic. It was like it was alive. It was like it was throbbing as it was changing these colors. And it was quite large initially when I ran right out. It was very large. But as I was watching it and collecting this, I'm saying, okay, it's not a helicopter. These are not red and green recognition lights of an aircraft of any kind. This thing is actually pulsating from red to green. Now, as I'm watching it, it is shrinking in size. It is going straight up and straight out. I ran back into the tent. I got my binoculars, ran back out, went over to the airplane wing. It was a low-wing aircraft, so I propped the binoculars on the edge of the aircraft leading edge and was watching the object through the binoculars. And it's just shrinking, just visibly shrinking in size as I'm watching it. It's going away. It's going straight up and straight out. Eventually, and this whole thing probably took 60 seconds, 75 maybe. It actually, you couldn't see the color anymore with the naked eye. You could still see a slight pulsing of the dot of the light. And in the binocular, I got maybe 3 or 4 more pulses that I could see color, and then it was gone. And then it was just boom, gone.
So is this connected with the American military, do you think?
I do not think, no. In hindsight, I believe that the craft came out of the lagoon and it rose up and was right virtually over us because we were right at the edge of the lagoon. And at this point in time, down there in the Mexican Baja Peninsula, the nearest fishing settlement to us was about, 35 miles on the other side of the bay. You could just see the lights of that settlement, barely. And basically, we were in the middle of nowhere with nothing around. And this is Mexico. So, no, it had nothing to do with the U.S. military, I'm absolutely certain. But here's the other interesting part of this. When this particular sighting was made, when we were forced into the tent, there was a large Pacific Coast fog bank that had rolled in. That was part of what made it so cold and drove us into the tent prematurely. These fog banks can be usually, on average, they're at about a 400 or 500 foot ceiling, and they can be anywhere from 800 to 4,000 or 5,000 feet thick. And when it is a thick fog bank, sometimes they do not even burn off the next day. Sometimes the fog will remain through the entire day and into the next following night. So how did we see this craft and observe it going all the way out into the sky when there was this huge Pacific thick fog bank that had rolled over us? Well, of course, it can't be because you can't see through a hundreds of foot thick fog bank. And they don't just go away. Once they rolled in, they're there. So whatever this thing was, whatever the field around it was, it essentially burned a hole right through the fog bank that allowed us to watch it and see it go all the way out into the deep space sky until it actually disappeared.
I take it you didn't take any pictures at the time?
No, we did not.
Do you get lots of pictures shown at the Congress?
We do get a lot of pictures shown at the Congress, and amazingly, well, I think Miles could possibly have testified to this because he was there and saw a lot of this. There are amazing pictures taken even at these gatherings. One of the most amazing ones was taken by one of our delegates, forgive me, a little old lady, right?
Right.
With her brownie, no, not literally, but with her camera right outside of the hotel window with the hills and the river in the background. An incredible picture of a perfectly structured craft with cupola just literally outside the window of the hotel. Yes, of course.
So what do you think these ETs make of the Americans then?
Oh, gosh, who knows? Look, Carolyn, here's the thing I've been asking people for 50 years. Do you believe that our universe is infinite?
Yep.
You do, right?
Yep.
Everybody says, yes, it is. And the farther we go along in science, the farther we look out, the more we realize that it is infinite. Here's my question. What is the only possible purpose for an infinite universe?
What's the only possible purpose for the universe?
For an infinite universe.
For an infinite universe. Well, we're always going to be...
I'm not going to keep you...
Well, we're never going to be... there's going to be lots of planets out there, lots of... Yeah, I guess there's going to be lots of creatures out there we don't even know about.
You're there. You're there. You're one of the few. Yes, the only possible purpose for a limitless universe is limitless life. And indeed, it is out there. We are in a universe of limitless life, and a lot of it is a lot older and ergo a lot more advanced than we are. So a lot of it has the capability of coming by and looking at us on this little primitive schoolhouse world. And,
aren't we supposed to be like the baby planet? The primary school planet?
I do believe that is the case. I absolutely believe that is the case.
So you're going to be organizing one of these congresses next year. When is it? Is it March?
Yes, it is March. It's the last week of March. A couple of things that are truly unique about what we do. Our events are this particular MegaCon. It's called UFO MegaCon. It's 8 nights and 7 days long. We call it the immersion event. And our tagline is spend a week with us, it will change your life. And it literally does. When you spend a week's time, it's like a graduate course, an intense graduate course on all of the life in the universe, crammed into 7 days and 7 nights. Magic happens.
And this is is this held in Denver?
No, this is held in Nevada at the Aquarius Hotel on the banks of the Colorado River. It's where the states of Colorado, Arizona, and California all come together. It's virtually where they come together and touch.
Brilliant. And how much does that cost?
Oh my God, I'm going to tell you, but you better sit down.
I'm sitting down.
So much less than you could have ever imagined. Think about this. 8 nights, 7 days of intensive learning. Over 45 presenters will be on the dais during the entire week. There are 3 planned major meal events included as well. A pizza pasta feed with wine, a taco feed with beer, and a major banquet with our keynote speaker at the end of the week. The entire 7 days, 8 nights, $499 US.
Really?
With the 3 major meal events.
You must get packed out, surely, at that price.
Well, you have to think about this, Carolyn. You remember, you don't really know. I need to tell you. My last International UFO Congress, the last one that I actually did was about 10 years ago. My wife had recently passed, so I had let the conferences go. But for the past 10 years, I have been urged with an ever louder cry from all of my colleagues and former friends and delegates that I have to bring back another major MegaCon convention, because nobody in the world is doing what I used to do. Nobody. And so finally I've listened, and we are coming back with UFO MegaCon. And I know that there are good deals coming out of the UK and Europe if you do them in advance to get to Las Vegas. Las Vegas is our gateway city. In other words, just like you flew into Denver to go up to Mount Rushmore, people that are going to go to Laughlin, it's about an 80-minute drive east-southeast out of Las Vegas. That's where they come. That's the gateway airport, Las Vegas. And there are very low-cost fares available into Las Vegas, especially if you do them in advance.
Right. So, Bob, is there anything else you'd like the viewers at home to know about?
Well, yeah, there is. This year, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Free Foundation. This is a group that was started by the late Dr. Edgar Mitchell. Yes, that is Edgar Mitchell, the astronauts. And anyway, they have just published, the Free Foundation's just published a new scientific work. It's called Beyond UFOs, the Science and Consciousness and Contact with Non-Human Intelligence, Volume 1. This first edition is almost 800 pages. This is the largest scientific work ever published on the subject of human contact with other intelligence. And they have identified a lot of the contact modalities that go along with the reality of contact. And at this conference, this year's conference, last week of March 2019, we are taking a close look at every one of the contact modalities as established by Edgar Mitchell's Free Foundation. This is going to be the greatest single gathering in the history of the world, looking deeply and scientifically into the subject of contact in all of its various means. Make no mistake, this is not people gathering together with tinfoil hats on their heads. This is very, very serious stuff, but we have fun. We have so much fun.
Well, it sounds brilliant. Obviously, to the people back at home, I would be saying you do your own research, but it sounds like a lot of fun, and go and explore Nevada in the process. So, Bob, thank you so much for coming on air today, and I look forward to meeting you sometime. And
Carolyn, thank you so much for having me on air today.
And to the people back at home, this has been another Stepping Stones to Awareness show. Thank you for watching, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Goodbye.